This for the niggas and bitches and niggas who be hitting them switches and pulling them triggers, who be crumbling weed and rolling them swishers. Keep on banging on corners and drinking that liquor. Keep that thug shit real when you fucking with me. Keep your sights on steel when you gunning for me. I put my pistol in your mouth and tell your ass to goggle. Gangsta shit so potent it should be sold in bottles. Take a sip and go to hell, get drunk and end up in the trunk. Fuck jail, you thinking DUI? No, that ain't how you die. It was my thugs and slugs that was the reason why. You niggas thought I was soft, but now it's blood that you caught. And now these shells hit the ground as I'm busting off. 9 double in Beretta, no there's nothing better. Tear the flesh in your chest and now your shirt is wetter. Me and this wild wild together like we husband and wife. This gangsta shit ain't just a song, it's a way of life. We are the
Yellow tape and bloodshed, pussy niggas is dead. Hollow points tipped with lead, putting gaps through heads, that's what it be like. When the street lights get to flickering, niggas get to bickering, and slugs get to tickling. We them niggas that just don't ask. We take your cash, transplant or put your ass. Right hand to your left eye. Hey, Mr. Tough Guy, when slugs fly, I guarantee your shirt won't dry. In times of peace, my niggas playing wars. Stack dope, sit mowing, then we bang whores. We been through gang wars. We bout that green, we bout that murder scene. Pull a tool that's sure to leave your shoulders clean. Cause when it all goes down, I got that heat. You was slow on the drawing, now you burn me. Because we are the
y'all niggas ain't shit but wannabes, it's love. But not for my fucking enemies, it's blood. For my niggas,
I will surely bleed.
For my niggas, I will surely bleed. It's Gio, the same nigga that was ready for war, ready for fame and everything it had in store. And I ain't changed, I'm still on the block with my dog. Smoking weed, busting shells, leaving the block for the fall. For my niggas who didn't get to see me achieve. Some died over beef and some died over greed. I'm smoking weed, I'm trying to get rid of the pain. Lord, please bless me to continue my thing. I'm from the streets, and it's been a hard knock life. I'm in it deep, and that's why I don't think nice. I don't sleep, and that's why I don't like lights. I hold heat, and that's why you won't blink twice. We are the monsters. We want to die. We also for money. For bitches hanging high.
what y'all wanna bang with me, bust those things with me. You little bitch ass niggas can't hang with me. Why be the hood of the no good? Breaking your studio niggas down to the floor wood. I'm here to check the game, nigga, respect the name. Or I'ma pull my 4-5 out and select the brain, inject the pain, and leave you for the news to cover. Another victim of Mac Lover, wild motherfucker. Y'all ain't never seen a motherfucking street like me. Ballin' from the Midwest, bringing heat like me. So niggas make way, cause I'ma bring it to you hard. No mercy on your mark, so bow down to my facade and feel the pressure. A real thugs from the streets, we do what we wanna do. Nigga, fuck the police, I'm the mouth of madness. Bringing the pain and the sadness, I be the baddest. Smoking niggas to the ashes, Alpha and Omega.
Yes, sir.
From Doug Data, dark as Darth Vader with the strength of the creator.
We're born to die. When it all goes down, niggas. When it all goes down, talk to me. We hustle for money, but bitches ain't getting high. It's about to go down. Let's do this. Yes, sir. I'm back one more again in this motherfucker. It's the eve of my birthday, bitches. And y'all better be looking for me because here I is. Yes, indeed. About to give you what you need. I'm about to give you what you need. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, here I go on another show. And this is that relationship rehab flow. I'm about to drop some knowledge and kick some facts. And we gon' talk a little about this and that. So, here I go. One more again, got everybody in the building, including my cousin. Yeah, that's him. Wesley T with me, and I'm with him, cause we are fucking family. So here I go on another rehab flow. Y'all didn't know, but my birthday's in about an hour or so, and that's what we gon' do. We gon' celebrate. We gon' do what we do, and all you players hating on me, but it's okay, G. Cause if you said he hating, then that means I'm doing something that's, I don't know. But that shit was hot. What you talking about? Let's get into this. I'm excited to be here. You excited to be here. And let me just tell y'all one thing. To all of you out there that don't like your boy, I got one special message for y'all for 2021. Pay very close attention and just hear me when I say, try Jesus, but don't try me, 'cause I shoot fast. Whoa, try Jesus, but please don't try me, 'cause I throw hands. That is my shit. I love that little song, boy. If y'all ain't heard that song, that shit is funny. But look, I'm excited to be here. We about to do another show, but I just remembered something that I had forgotten, said that I was going to do. So let me do this right now. Somebody emailed me and they asked me a question, and I couldn't remember. I can't remember who it was, but I had told them that I was going to address their question on the next show, and that is this show. Yeah. There we go. That's it, I think. So let's go ahead and let's do this. While you in here, click that like button. And let's go ahead and let's do this real quick. I'm going to do this kind of like the intro or whatever to the show. Then we're going to get started. All right, so check this out. It says, peace, Brian. I'd like to receive your opinion on the direction or directions in which single, heterosexual, childless, non-liberal, left-leaning black millennial men should pursue during the next 4 years. I ask because I'm seeing post-inauguration a lot of black women, millennials, and Gen Xers celebrating, wearing pearls for symbolic purposes, say her name, etc. There's this energy of defeating aspects of heterosexual men and aesthetics of patriarchy. And the aesthetics of patriarchy, I guess. So from your vantage point, what direction and attitude do you recommend millennial men take on to remain political, solidified, mentally centered, and simply at peace in the midst of rampant feminism and transgenderism? Thanks. So that's kind of a long question, but I read it a couple of times. That wasn't the first time I read it, so I read it a couple of times. But I would say this, and this is one of the good things about the reason why I like doing what I do. And it's like this. Stick to the facts, stick to the truth, and stick to logic. Commune with those that are like-minded. And at the end of the day, you do whatever you can to be not only the example, but to try to impact those that are around you who are willing to have the conversation. It's like this. The only way that you can combat the darkness is with light. Be a light. Men, in particular, we need to start being thermostats instead of thermometers. That just came to me. Ooh, I like that. Well, I've heard it before, but it just popped. Men should be thermostats instead of thermometers. What I mean by that, we need to set the temperature instead of just reading the temperature. So all of those people, all these black folks is happy now that Biden is in office. All of these women that's wearing pearls and Chuck Taylors now celebrating the whore, fine. They are thermometers. They're not thermostat. They are literally going with the status quo, riding with the right now winning team. The people that have voted for this now administration, they have not even begun to question the agenda that they have not heard since day one of these motherfuckers running, because all they've been talking about is Trump, the incumbent. Never once along this whole ride, we gotta get rid of 45, did they ask to say, well, what the fuck are y'all gonna do? So now that we're here in this place, and y'all know me, I'm gonna try my best to let this first 100 days go by. Unless something happens and I just cannot hold my mule, which I'm anticipating. But I'm gonna try my best to let this first 100 days go by of just saying, hey, let's see what they do. Because nobody knows what they're gonna actually do. They've talked a gang of shit. But let's just see what they're gonna do for us. Hey, we lucky we got 'em. Boom, 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 boom. Good times. I just want to see if all of these newly found political social justice warriors, if they are going to flood their timelines, if they going to critique, if they going to be woke for these next 4 years. I'm really looking to see that. I'm really looking to see it. Because if y'all are, then me personally, I would say, I would be asking like, so what are y'all gonna do again? I know y'all was talking about we got to get him out, and if we didn't vote for y'all, he wasn't black. But what are y'all gonna do now? Okay? Because everything so far ain't had shit to do with the people. I'm just saying, it had shit to do with the people. So my advice that I can give to you, man, is this: stick to truth, stick to logic, stick to facts, and be a light. That's it. That's all you can do. 4 years are gonna go by just like 4 years would have went by if Trump was still in office. We still gonna be here. We still here right now. And whatever the hell they tear down, whatever the hell they try to build up, it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be what it is. All you need to do is keep speaking up for what is right. Keep trying to be as righteous as you possibly can, and just be that light. That is my advice for young men whose candidate did not win the election. That's my advice. So it's like there's a lot of things that's gonna go on. It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And I've been telling y'all this for a long time, and it's coming. It's coming. Y'all need to hold on. Because when March hit, it's gonna get tough. It's gonna get tough. I've been telling y'all this for a long time. The economy, the effects of the summer in the house, all this, we gotta stay home. All of this, we gotta wear masks and we can't go outside. The Rona gonna get us all. Y'all heard me when this shit first kicked off, how I was saying, I went from, hey, yeah, Fauci and them know what the fuck they talking about, y'all, let's listen to them, to saying, oh, wait, nope, this motherfucker's crazy and he's on some fuck shit. To the point of me then saying, hey man, they're fucking up the game. We gonna struggle. We gonna feel this shit the most. All them motherfuckers at 2600 Pennsylvania, They ain't gonna feel this shit. We the ones that's gonna feel it. We the ones that's gonna be like, hey, wait, we still ain't working. And then when they do tell everybody, everything's open, guys, go back to work in your regular lives, it ain't gonna be nothing to go to. Y'all just watch all these companies that's gonna close their doors for good. Y'all watch to see all these retail stores close their departments and all that shit. Yes, you're right. It's starting already. It's been quiet because of the spin, because of the narrative, because of the propaganda. They ain't talking about it. Just like how they ain't talking about all this fuck shit that's going on in Seattle. Y'all notice that ain't in the news, right? Y'all do notice that. All this motherfucking rioting, motherfucking straight violence, all that fuck shit that they talked about that happened at the Capitol, that was just an insurgency, been going on since the inauguration in Seattle. And these motherfuckers ain't saying shit. Ain't hitting the news or nothing. But I'm just telling you, yes, y'all watch this shit start closing up. Y'all watch what happened with Kohl's. Y'all watch what happened with Best Buy. Y'all watch what happened with all these retailers that can't make it no more. They just been holding on. And now they about to let go. So, brace yourselves. And to all of y'all that voted for this administration, all I can say is this. Hope you're happy. And you'll be hearing a lot more. Told your ass. I told your ass. Like my cousin say. Shout out to my cousin Tuck. Told your ass. Well, just hang in there. You got some pennies and some nuts squirreled away. You better hold on to them. So, with that being said, that's my advice. Hit me up and let me know what you think about it. And we can chat further. But I wanted to do this story because it is quite interesting. And I'm going to tell you how I got into this story. I actually had been meaning to do this story, man, for at least, I think I've had this story downloaded for at least maybe since like July, real talk, and been meaning to do it. But I'm going to tell you how I got here. I was getting ready for work today and was listening, and what came up in my playlist was some R. Kelly. Like 3 R. Kelly songs got in my playlist some kind of way through the random shuffle, got into my playlist today, and I got to thinking about Kale. Like, God damn, they still got this nigga locked up. And then I remembered this story. And I said, man, I need to do this. And here we are. So, without further ado, let's go on to my favorite part of the show.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Ain't nothing like some good wine. Tell you that. It's like nectar of the gods. All right, y'all. So here we go. For those of you who may not know this story, some of you have. I know some of y'all was telling the whole goddamn story in the chat before the show even started. Why you can't show or tell niggas shit. So, yeah, I remember what had happened was this. But this story is about a lady named Mary Kay Letourneau. And what she did, hear this. She was a school teacher, a married woman with a family and a school teacher. She then started to have sexual intercourse, rape, or statutorily raped her 6th grade student. Now, in 6th grade, if I'm not mistaken, you are either 11 or 12 years old. I believe he was 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old at the time. She had sex with him. She then got found out. Their relationship got outed. He went to jail and was supposed to do, I think it was like 7 years. But what then happened, she got pregnant and had the kid in jail. Then she got out. They got married. After she did her 6 years or whatever she did, 5 or 6 years, something like she might have done on 7, I'm not sure. But they got out and they got married. Had another kid. And I think was together for like 10 years married. And then they got divorced. Yep, yes indeed, they got divorced. And then after all of that, them being divorced and all that, she got sick and she got cancer. It was like stage 4 cancer, and he came back and like helped take care of her, for her last days or last few months that she was, alive, and she passed. That's pretty much summing it up. But the most interesting thing with this was how this all unfolded. And one of the biggest reasons I want you guys to see this is I want you to see the interaction between these two. And this is like a prime example of just how somebody can manipulate a child, and as that child gets older and as they progress and become teenager and adult and all that kind of stuff, just to see that dynamic of how they transition. And it's like, and even when I talked about R. Kelly, you heard me say several times, a girl that's 16 years old, 17 years old, they know what they're doing. Same thing with a boy. You know what you're doing when you're that age. But when your ass is 11 and 12 years old, it's fucked up because they're not even on that level. So it's like the dawn of the awakening, not the dawn of the age of Aquarius, but the dawn and the awakening of their sexuality. And it's like before that actually like develops into anything, to come along and to kind of like corrupt that, it's real fucked up. And that's why there are statutory laws. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if there, in my opinion, if there was a way to have just a across the board statutory rape law, I would say 16 would be the legal age of consent. But that's not the world we live in today. But I don't believe that a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old, I don't think that they have the mental capacity to make that choice of like being sexually active. So I think that there's some real issue with that. And it's like, it's really fucked up. And I think this is going to kind of show that. So without further ado, and let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me shout out my man Marcus Hardison. Shout out to you, Falcon Nation. What up? My cousin Wesley T. But I guess, let's see who else. Glenda Smiles, L. Edwards. Shout out to y'all. Reed, shout out to you. CJ Gunn, one of the mods. Shout out to you. Crestline Iceberg. Shout out to you, player. Shout out to Show Enough the Master, Miriam Remo, and Jamal Beasley. Let's see who else is up in here. Sylvester M. Rodrika Hughes. Yes, indeed. Sergeant. Hey, old Sarge came in. How them Packers doing? Yeah. Take that. Take that. Give you that puff daddy. Take that. Take that. She the cool P. What's happening? Troy Sherman. What up? Jackie Zhao. Let's see. Young Sykes. Who else? Tanya Campbell. What's happening? Let's see. Is that everybody? And Fair Play. What's good? All right, let's go. Let's do this, as Big Mama would say, and let's hear this story.
Even now, some 2 decades later, you can't help but ask, what was she thinking? What was it that drove schoolteacher Mary Kay Letourneau to begin a secret affair with her 12-year-old student, Vili Falau? Mary said it was true love, but no one else saw it that way. She was jailed twice and even had 2 children to the underage Vili. But somehow the relationship endured. Remarkably, they're still together today. Here's Matt Doran.
Audrey, look up this way. That's cute. Love it.
It all looks normal enough.
I'm just going to keep eating.
And I'm going to tell you like this. You're going to see the real, like, craziness in her and, like, the real, like, I don't know what the fuck I done got into with him, what he got himself into. It's like one of those things to where he's like, because, and I'm quite sure that because of how his tradition and his background and culture and all that kind of stuff plays some part into it. But the way that they are, it is so weird. I just wanted to just prep you through it. Each and everything. Shout out to you too. I didn't see you.
Okay.
Mum, Dad,
Well, I didn't ask you to get in now, did I?
and 2 children. A picnic beside a picturesque lake. But this family is anything but normal.
What about these as parents? You've got some good parents here. I'm trying to work out where the looks come from, whether you've got mum's looks or dad's looks, or it's a mixture of both.
I think it's a good mixture of both.
Yeah.
For a brief time, this was the most talked about family on earth. Mary Kay Letourneau made world news when she seduced her 12-year-old student, Vili Falau.
A 35-year-old teacher who had sex with a 13-year-old 6th grader sentenced to 18
Mary
days.
Kay Letourneau, the last person you would suspect of being a molester of children.
Vili is now her husband. Then there's their children. Audrey, born while their mother was on trial, and Georgia, born in prison.
Do you kind of understand?
Now, I didn't know she had both of them while she was on trial and in prison. I did not know that. I thought I'd heard that. Yes, they actually have gotten divorced now, Jeff, but this was done, like, I believe their 10-year anniversary. They had been together for 10 years.
Understand, you know, what all the furor, all the interest was about at the time?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I understand about it.
It was wrong, and I am sorry.
As we'll see tonight, this is a family still grappling with the truth of what happened more than 2 decades ago. And who was to blame?
I was pursued, and I didn't think about it. I did not think about it. Didn't.
But that.
Yes, she just said that. She was pursued by a 6th grader. Now, my thing is this. Had that been a man, what would they be saying about him? Just tell me, had that been a man, what would they be saying about him? And she's like totally confident in what she's saying. Like, I was pursued. Ma'am, he's 12. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Excuse for any crime, is it? And I'm not saying
No,
this
it's not.
You can't
It's
just go, I
not.
didn't think about it, see you later, sorry.
No.
Was it right? Was it wrong? I don't know.
Here with you, here.
Inverted said, put him under the jail. What? You see that?
With me is where I want to be.
What you will have to decide tonight is whether this case amounts to a love story or whether this is something altogether different. One of the most extraordinary, prolonged cases of child abuse we have known.
Mary Kay Letourneau was a much-liked and respected teacher at Shorewood Elementary School. She was married and had 4 children.
Did you hear that? She was married already with 4 kids. 4 kids, already married. Got what they say? What them hood motherfuckers say? Had a whole husband and 4 whole kids.
First met Vili when he was just 8 years old.
Was that when you were here, his year 2 teacher?
He was one of my students back then. I hardly remember. Of course, I remember his name. So
She met him when he was 8. 8 years old.
and I knew the Falau family.
Vili came from a broken home. His dad was married 5 times and he had 17 brothers and sisters.
This would be
God damn, did you hear that shit? Daddy was married 5 times and had 17 brothers and sisters.
Test of your memory, Billy. I mean, you would have been 8 or so back then. Do you have any memory of those years?
Like I remember hiding in the closet. There was a closet in the
Oh, no.
in the classroom, and then me and my friends, we used to be in there hiding in the classroom.
From Mary?
Why don't you say what you were doing hiding in the
We were just
closet?
hiding in the closet.
No, what did you tell me you were doing? What you said to me is like, yeah, we'd hide in the closet and we'd hope you'd walk past so we could look under your skirt. I'm like, what the heck? That's what he told me he remembered. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow, I had no idea.
Now, I don't get that. How does somebody walk past in a closet and you like look under their dress? And this is one of the things that I've always said just about in life, period. People that you know. Here's why it's so important when you hear somebody tell a lie to say something right then and there. Because if you tell a lie long enough, it'll become the truth to that person or to those people that's hearing it. It'll come, I'm just telling you, when you hear somebody tell you some shit that is not true, or you hear them say some shit that's not true, a lot of us will tend to be like, oh, this motherfucker lying, don't say shit. But no, you need to be like, no, wait, you're lying, that's not correct. You may have it misunderstood or you may have it twisted, but here's what happened. Because she's probably heard that or thought that and has come, because you clearly see that he wasn't with that shit. He like, I remember saying that shit, but whatever. It ain't no big deal. But when you're in relationship with somebody, not just in this type of relationship, just period, friends, family, co-workers, whatever the case may be, when somebody's telling a lie or saying something that's not true, it's very important that you contest and correct that. Because when you don't, they begin to believe the shit. I think it was George Costanza that said that on fucking Seinfeld. It's only a lie. He said it's not a lie if you believe it to be true or some shit like that, he said. And that's exactly what this is. You telling this shit so much that you begin to believe it. That's just what it is.
Things wouldn't get physical, though, for another 4 years when, acting on a dare, 12-year-old Billy made his move during summer school.
I remember she was very pretty. It was more of, showing off to a cousin of mine, like betting, because used to brag about girls and this and that when we were young. Like, oh, that girl likes me. No, she doesn't. And then like, oh yeah, I'll bet you that you can't get what's her name. And so I ended up taking the bet and pursued Mary.
Isn't it incredible? It's just incredible to think that what started as a bit of showing off and following through on a dare or a bet has led to, where we are now.
Mary and I became like really close, and then I kind of forgot about the bet.
And here's my thing. Here's what I'm going to say. It was a bet, but what else is a 13-year-old going to be thinking? I mean, me at 13, at 12, man, it was all about girl. It was. It just was. And I mean, even the fact that he was in this position and it was started out as a bet or whatever, dude, you fucking liked her. Plain and simple. You had a crush on your teacher, on this lady that you've known already for 4 years, whatever the case may be. He did. But the thing is this. That's where the adult will come in and say, hey, no, this ain't how this shit is gonna go. We ain't doing this. And the fact that she even used the excuse of saying, I was pursued. I didn't have anything to do with this until he kept pursuing me, wouldn't let up, so I just had to give him the pussy. It's like, it don't work like that, man. I'm like, really?
When Mary did really make it clear to you that he was interested in you physically, can you remember that moment? You must remember that moment.
I just remember, yes, there was one point, and I said, put that away. I just
put that away. What, he pulled out the Peter Weeder? That's what he did. Like, hey, Miss Letourneau. She like, put that away. Like, how do you get into that situation?
Meant the idea. There was a moment where he said that he did say he was in love with me. And it scared me. And
that was before.
It scared you so much that you decided to fuck him. Oh, I'm so frightened. Come on. Here. How does an adult rationalize that and say it was so scary to me that it was such a shock to me, I was afraid. And then I fucked him. Like, seriously.
Anything physical between you both? He said he was in love.
oh yeah, like I don't know, yeah, like weeks, a month.
Look at him. He looking like, bitch, you was with it. That's how he's looking. Just watch this dynamic between these two and how what she says and his reaction to it. It's like, I truly believe he's holding back so much shit. And if he was black, he'd just be like, bitch, why you capping? Why are you capping? You lying, bitch. You know that ain't what you did.
Mary, when did you first realize I have feelings for a student?
I feel kind of awkward answering that because it's sort of wanting to connect it to this was a student-teacher relationship.
Did you do anything wrong?
I've always said, it was, should I have run from him? I did at one point say, you have to go.
Mary and Billy tried to keep their relationship secret, but were caught together by police.
The Des Moines police were called by someone saying they thought there was a drunk driver in the parking lot down at the marina.
Now, this is where the bullshit comes in.
Lawyer David Gerke was a friend and neighbour of Mary, who would go on to represent her at trial.
And they got there, and Mary pops out of the van, and she's wearing a T-shirt.
Anything else?
They couldn't tell, but
Mary pops out of the van like spit spot. Do y'all know I have never seen Mary Poppins? And my wife fucking loves it. My wife loves Mary Poppins. She know that shit backwards and forwards. I have never seen Mary Poppins. Never, ever.
just whether it was a T-shirt and panties or a T-shirt, it drew their attention. And then there was a young child sleeping, Billy, so that raised some questions. And Mary, smart and quick, said, no, I'm his teacher. His mom knows he's with me. One of the officers, though, said, this doesn't look right. Doesn't smell right. There's something that needs to be investigated.
He smelled pussy. That's what it did, right? It smelled like fucking in here. What is going on, ma'am? It don't smell right. Look here, Mary Poppins, with your T-shirt and your panties on. What is going on in here? It smells like fucking in this car. Because I've done it before. And I smell it. Something don't smell right near you and these motherfuckers.
Investigated further. Maybe it's legit, maybe not.
Did they?
Nobody did.
Imagine it was the reverse. Imagine, say, a male in his mid-30s had been found with a teenage girl in the car.
Oh, yeah, no, you go right to jail.
And Mary was...
Exactly. And that's what's so fucked up about this. That's the fact that lawyer went and just connected that shit that simple. Like, oh yeah, if it was a guy with a 16-year-old girl, I mean, she not even 16. If it was a dude in a car with his T-shirt and his Fruit of the Looms on, talking about, I'm this girl's teacher and she 12 years old. They would have took that nigga right to jail, and by the time he got out on bail, they would have had the electric chair sitting on his front porch, plugging the motherfucker in, saying, have a seat.
Oh. It was just the opposite. It's Mary. We know her. We love her. The mom said it's okay for the boy to be there. So obviously there's not a crime.
But quickly.
Exactly. And exactly, fair play. You would think, well, females mature or faster than males, so wouldn't it be okay even more? She knows what she's doing at 12 years old. But they let that boy stay in that motherfucking car with that woman. Like, just never fucking saying, no, this is fucked up. God damn it, not on my watch. No, you coming with me, kid. Ma'am, take your, at least just say, I'm taking this kid back to his parents. Fuck what you talking about. You let that mama and daddy tell me that, no, we sent him off with this teacher to go be alone in the car for him to take a nap and for her to have on her t-shirt and panties. What the fuck you think is going on? There is no way that I could roll up as a police officer and see a female in her t-shirt and panties. T-shirt and panties. T-shirt and her panties on. You know that something's going wrong. She got a t-shirt and her panties on. Playing with that 12-year-old song. That's what she doing. Come on, man. How do you just let some shit like that slide? Like, fuck that. Nah, yeah, you right, man. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. We know you. We love you. Hey, you're a good teacher.
Began to spread through the tight-knit community. Not only was there an affair between a female teacher and a student, but the teacher was pregnant.
It was front page in the Seattle Times. The rumor was a Highline School District teacher, a female, was impregnated by a 6th grade student. And that really got tongues buzzing. Who could that be? All the teachers are talking and guessing and all of that. And then one Friday night, I got a phone call from my good friend Lee. And he said, David, it's Mary. That's all he had to say, and I knew immediately what he meant, what he was talking about. I couldn't believe it. You don't put "it's Mary" with that rumor.
But despite the gossip, Mary and Billy continued their illicit relationship.
There it is. And here's my thing again, like I always say, like I said time and time again with the R. Kelly shit. Where in the fuck are the parents? Where's the mama and daddy who should be looking after their kid to at least know how the fuck is my son spending all this time with his fucking teacher? Riding off, just him, just teacher by himself. Him and his teacher just spending all this time together. You've seen that shit be okay. There is no reason whatsoever that I would see it being okay for my daughter or my son. I don't give a fuck if they males, both female. I don't give a flying fuck. There is no reason for my child to be, or my children to be spending time alone with their teacher. For what? Well, they could have been tutoring. Okay, motherfucker, how much tutoring do you need? Why is my daughter always alone with his or her teacher? Because the thing is, this ain't like, oh, well, she just dropping them off at school because they had a project going on. These motherfuckers had to be spending quite a bit of time together for this motherfucker to be pregnant and for them for the rumors and shit to be going around. It just has to be. And the parents are nowhere to be found.
On a number of occasions, she even brought Billy back to her family home.
There were rumours, and perhaps I can try and confirm or deny them with you, about some sex acts on the roof of that house.
I wasn't there, I can't comment.
You see that wink he gave? So basically what they saying is they was fucking on the roof of her parents' home in this, whatever, this fucking getaway that they got.
I wasn't there, I can't comment.
Was that a wink? I believe that was a wink. That was an attorney wink. That's unprecedented on television. I've never quite seen that before.
I've heard the rumor, but I've never heard specifically from Mary or Billy whether or not that happened.
But much later, in a court deposition, Villy would claim it was true.
We went outside and we went on top of her roof and we had sex.
On the roof?
Yeah.
Well, that nigga looked like he was in the gang La Onda. Y'all remember that motherfucking movie, Blood In? Was it Blood In, Blood Out? That motherfucker looked like, when we were kids, belonging felt good, but having respect, that feels even better.
But much later, in a court deposition, Villy would claim it was true.
We went outside and we went on top of her roof and we had sex.
On the roof?
Yeah.
Don't you know that?
That's about as brazen as it gets?
Yeah. But remember, it was love. They were in love. That made it okay.
Man.
At the time Mary was consummating what she called her real love for Villy, she was also living at home with her husband, Steve, raising their 4 children.
What about your children, Mary? It must have been unimaginably tough on them.
That's why I asked him to go get away from us. Go and do your thing.
But that's
I
making
said,
it
"Go
seem
and do
like
your
Villy
thing."
was relentlessly pursuing you. You were...
Could you imagine if a dude said that? Could you imagine if a guy said that? Yeah, you know, that's why I was telling her, you know, she need to go ahead and just go do her thing, you know, but, you know, because I had 4 kids at the crib with a wife, a whole wife. Could you imagine that? 4 kids and a wife, or 4 kids and a husband, and your response to that about your own children that you've had, your own family that you got, yeah, that's why I was telling him he needs to go away, go do his thing. Right, that's why you taking him to your parents' house and fucking him on the roof? Seriously? It just, I mean, that really just makes sense. So we just got through talking about you taking this motherfucking underage kid to your parents' getaway home to fuck him, and you fucking him on the roof. So if that's what you're doing on the roof, imagine what you're doing in the house. Imagine what you're doing over the weekend. Imagine what y'all are doing every time y'all get some time alone together. She wasn't doing nothing but fucking that little boy. And that little boy didn't want to do nothing but fuck her. That's just what it is. That's just, what else are they doing? Talking about the current events of the world? What kind of conversations are you having? Yeah, so did you see that G.I. Joe episode today? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was watching. So fucking Cobra Commander, they're really trying to get some shit going, huh? With this whole Serpentor thing, huh? They're going around and they're traveling, getting the DNA from all these other great war heroes, and G.I. Joe seems like they're always one step behind. This is insane. What do you think Serpentor is gonna do to them? It's like she's so full of shit. She's literally just like, I don't really have no answer for this that's gonna sound good, so I might as well just fucking lie. That's what, in my opinion, that's the position she took. She just said, fuck it. There is nothing that's going to sound good in this with me coming up with an excuse. So I'm just gonna just make some outlandish fucking statements and just see what sticks.
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was by age. I was by age.
And by
Let's just say
maturity.
that. You maybe.
You were a teen.
She said, I was the adult by age, but as far as maturity, maybe he was. Bitch, you are grown, a fucking teacher, and you got 4 kids with a husband. How fucking immature can you be? To have that many achievements, I mean, has obviously gone to school and gotten some type of degree in education or whatever the case may be, to the point to where you're a teacher. How fucking immature can you really be to where, you know, that's why this was just something that just happened. This is insane of the reasoning that she had. And that's why I know that there had to have been something mentally wrong with this person. to try to rationalize this shit. And the fact that she was just a woman that liked fucking young boys. That's just it.
I can't say I was immature.
But you don't know him.
No, but I don't need to know him in this discussion. He's the child.
Who was
I'm
the
talking
boss?
about you.
Who was the boss?
What was his name?
Who was the boss?
What?
Who was the boss back
You know,
then?
there was me pursuing you, but
Who was the boss back then?
this is ridiculous.
No,
This
who
is
was?
ridiculous.
Who was? Just say.
Just say.
Who was the boss?
All I knew was what I knew back then.
But who was the boss?
He was 13, Mary.
But who was the boss?
This is getting
Do you
weird.
see this
Who was
shit?
the boss?
Who was the boss? Bitch, it was Tony Danza. That's who the boss was.
Pursuing
We
the
all know
relationship.
this.
Who was the boss?
Do you hear her? Tony Danza was the boss, bitch. But what was you doing? Can you believe that? Exactly. No accountability, no responsibility in this whole thing. And my thing is this. Okay, so you are a submissive woman and you like being told what to do. That still doesn't absolve you from your fucking responsibility as an adult. That doesn't say, oh, well, because you like being submissive and you like for him to tell you what to do, since you like that, then you don't have to worry about breaking no laws. You can do whatever. No. I'm sure her ex-husband probably motherfucking was her submissive to him. It's just that this shit here tickled her fucking fancy and intrigued her to the point to where she left all 5 of them motherfuckers. That's all that shit was. Who's the boss? Who's the boss? Who's the boss? Who's the boss?
Us.
All I knew was what I knew back then.
But who?
At home with her husband, Steve, raising their 4 children.
What about your children, Mary? It must have been unimaginably tough on them.
That's why I asked him to go get away from us. Go and do your thing.
But that's
I said,
making
"Go
it
and
seem
do
like
your
Billy
thing."
was relentlessly pursuing you. You were the adult.
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was by age. I was by age.
And by
Let's just say
maturity.
You maybe.
You were a teacher, Mary. You
Doesn't
can't say I
matter.
was immature.
But you don't know him.
No, but I don't need to know him in this discussion. He's the child.
Who was
I'm
the
talking
boss?
about you.
Who was the boss?
What was his name?
Who was the boss?
What?
Who was the boss back
You know, there
then?
was me pursuing you, but
Who was the boss back then?
this is ridiculous.
No,
This
who
is
was?
ridiculous.
Who was? Just say.
Just say.
Who was the boss?
All I knew was what I knew back then.
But who was the boss?
He was 13, Mary.
But who was the boss?
This is getting weird.
Who was the boss? Who?
I'm pursuing the relationship.
Who was the boss?
Well, I was the pursuer.
Yes.
Mary, even as you're
But-
hearing this now, come on, he was 13.
It doesn't matter.
It absolutely
doesn't matter.
matters.
Oh, well, flaw me.
Boom! Do you see the audacity? Just like this is my biggest problem with this. I understand that she did what she did, and he did what he did. I get that, but the fact that she's so comfortable without assuming any responsibility for this, and nobody is like, I mean, this shit here was just, hey, this is what I did. Yep. I know it was wrong, but I did it. He was the boss. Who was the boss? Who was the boss? Who was the boss? Who was the boss? And look how he's looking. He's like, this shit is getting weird. Like, no, nigga, this shit is already weird. And I'm going to tell you like this. Billy is kind of fucked up in the head too. Because he was with this shit. And we got a motherfucker like Kelly who can't even motherfucking walk past. He can't even walk past the motherfucking bond office. He can't get no kind of $10 million bond.
Me as an
adult?
Yes, flaw me. I did the best I could.
I mean,
Flaw me, character flaw. Ooh.
Now imagine if R. Kelly said that. Imagine, thank you. Imagine if Bill Cosby said that. Imagine that shit. Imagine that shit. Just imagine if one of them were to say, oh, it's just a character flaw. Those girls were pursuing me. Those hot young girls were at my shows. They were in the line at the Rock and Roll McDonald's. They showed up to my studio. Flaw me? Whew.
Art has always been a big part of Vili Folau's life. His affair with Mary Kay Letourneau actually began at a summer school art camp in 1996. Mary was 34, Vili 12.
34, 12. 34, 12. And 34 to 12. That's a football score, bitch. 34 to 12. She's 22 years older than this dude. That shit is, I get it, and I understand that shit happens, but she's trying to literally justify this shit.
I think we spoke to each other as if in that summer, we felt like it was boyfriend, girlfriend. It felt really great. Wow. I'm just saying it felt great because we were so close as friends. And then just to not be his teacher in any capacity. And just saying, I don't know what was dramatic going on, but I mean, inside of us, probably, yeah. When when we realized, I don't know, you called me your girlfriend.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
He's like, I don't remember that shit. I don't remember that shit. And it's like my thing with him is that, and I believe that he knows this, but it's just like, she took 1,000% advantage of that situation. She just absolutely did. The manipulation, the whole entire situation that she allowed herself to be put in, she allowed him to put her in, was all it was all a part of the play for her to manipulate him. Plain and simple. And once she got pregnant with baby number 1, turned around and got pregnant with baby number 2, it's like you're talking about a woman who was just sleeping with this little boy for years, spending summers together and all this shit. And I guess the parents couldn't keep track of all 17 of their kids, but goddamn, y'all never thought to say, hey, where the fuck is Vili at? Y'all never thought to say that? Like, goddamn. Parents get no charges.
A few months into their secret affair, Mary fell pregnant to Vili.
She said, you how they even put this shit out? She fell pregnant to Vili. Like, he really knows about sex education, and his pullout game wasn't too strong, I guess. No condoms, no birth control, or nothing. Which lets you know further, she wanted to have kids with this dude. Bitch, you 34 years old. It wasn't just about the dick. You was all the way the fuck in. You wanted to have children with this dude.
She was still married and living with her husband, Steve Letourneau, and their 4 children. He suspected she'd been unfaithful. Then he discovered dozens of notes and letters that confirmed his wife was in a sexual relationship with Vili.
She was specific enough for me to know that it involved the boy. And
wow.
Ideas and thoughts she had about him.
Yeah, it is.
And just things that were just off the wall, way out there. Things that were definitely adult in nature.
Steve moved out, and soon after, a relative of Steve's reported Mary's affair with Vili to her school district. In March 1997, she was arrested and charged with child rape.
And here's my thing. When you look at what she was actually, if she was actually telling him what the fuck she was on and what she was wanting to do, that lets you know that at some point in time during that relationship she started with Billy at 12 years old and her still living with her husband, she was fucking him and that 12-year-old boy. Women ain't shit. Ain't shit.
To this day, Mary claims she had no idea she was committing a crime.
If someone had told me, if anyone had told me there is a specific law that says that this is a crime.
I'll say that to your face, Mary. I'll say that to you. I'm not bristling.
If you had someone on here that knew Mary back then.
Bitch, you knew Mary back then. You knew good and goddamn well it wasn't okay at 34 years old to be fucking a 12-year-old boy. And you hear the fact that she even had the gall to even say that shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And I believe that too, cuz that dude wasn't her first. She might have went all, that was probably the first one she went all in with. I'm sure she's fucked younger fucking boys at that in her lifetime. I know that dude wasn't the first. Who's the boss? Who was the boss? Who was the boss? That's some other shit that she was on, period. And she knew the shit was wrong and was like, fuck it. 2 tears in a bucket. Let's take it to the stage.
Mary, no.
Or better yet, let's take it to the rooftop of my parents' summer home.
Mary have known.
Should Mary have known?
It's not even about should.
Of course it's about should. It's exactly about should.
I did not know. I have said this over and over again. Had I have known, if anyone knows my personality, just the idea that this would count as a crime.
Okay, so how about this, Mary? Would you have thought that it was okay, or was there a law to where maybe you shouldn't fuck another man while you're married to your husband? Did that ever cross your mind? The fact that you had an affair, was there any moral compass pointing in that shit? Like, goddamn, you're just totally oblivious to all laws, religious or otherwise. You just like, fuck it.
But it was a crime, and Mary needed a lawyer. She hired her friend and neighbour, David Gerke.
What was Mary's reaction when you first said those words, "You have effectively raped a little boy"?
But we were in love. It's love. I didn't make him do anything. If anything, he was wanting it. He was pushing for it. We were in love. How can it be a crime? And I had to repeat many times and in different ways why it's a crime. She really believed she had committed no crime.
The court hearing made international news.
It's the scandal that shocked the nation.
Oh, fair play. I guarantee you, had a 35-year-old man came to pick up her 12 or 13-year-old daughter, she'd be with that shit. Now, I believe that he wouldn't. I believe he would have a motherfucking fit. He'd be ready to cut a motherfucker. But her, she'd be fine. She would be fine with that shit. She'd be like, I understand. I was in love too with a young person at that age. Yes. She would be fine with that shit. That's where the fuck she's at in her mind. She would be fine with that shit. She wouldn't have a problem. Now the daddy, he would be like, nah, fuck that. You ain't gonna do that shit that I did, motherfucker. You crazy. Not with my daughter. But she was all good.
The tabloids couldn't get enough of it.
And what about the impact on Mary's husband at the time?
I do know that he was very angry and bitter. He was attractive. He was a high school, college athlete, worked hard, and now your beautiful wife is screwing a kid, not you. Can you imagine the ridicule he gets from other people?
In your family home?
The self-doubt that goes through your mind, like, am I not a man? You have to go to a 13-year-old boy?
While today Mary denies any wrongdoing, during her court hearing she did admit to breaking the law.
Your Honor, I did something.
Classic. Classic. And I mean classic. White girl, I didn't know, and I'm so innocent and pure, would have never done it if I know. And they like, yeah, you right. I'm only gonna give you 7 years. I understand.
That I had no right to do, morally or legally. It was wrong, and I am sorry.
Even though Villy had been 12 when the affair began, she reached a deal with prosecutors to get a lesser penalty by pleading guilty to the second-degree rape of a 13-year-old.
I give you my word that...
Now, do you think they would have did that for a dude? Hell no. If that was a man, fuck that. Nope. 12 years old, we're gonna throw the book at your ass. Fuck that. And she pregnant? Yeah. No, nigga, your ass got to go up under the jail. Not in it, up under it. And I'm telling you that just because of the sheer fact that she is a fucking woman, she was able to make a deal. I mean, they had her dead to rights. The evidence is there. She's fucking pregnant by this kid. You can trace this shit back to when he was 12, and they still made a deal for her. What kind of shit is
it? Will not happen again.
It's gonna happen to you. Bullshit. When I get out and can get on this dick one more time.
Please help me.
Look at that. Look at how she just acting out and getting them tears together. This is insane. They let this shit ride. And the judge only gave her 7 years. Took total advantage of this kid.
Help us. Help us all.
Help us. Help me.
2 months after being charged, Mary gave birth to Audrey. When Mary was eventually sentenced to 6 months jail, Audrey was placed in the care of Villy and his mother.
What she did was wrong.
Legally, yeah, it was wrong.
Morally?
Morally, I think maybe we should have waited.
You didn't have the maturity to make a decision like that.
No, I would say no.
There was only one of the parties that could stand back at a distance from a bird's eye view and say, hang on, what am I doing here?
I think about that kind of stuff a lot.
Even now?
Even now, because I'm 35 now. So I think about it, you know, like, could I have ever done that? Could I have ever been with a girl that's 13 years old right now? And I just can't see myself doing it.
Exactly. And that lets you know where his moral compass is. Like I said, his daughter, no fucking way, no how, ain't happening. I ain't gonna do it. Nope, ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna do it, and you ain't gonna do it to my daughter. Fuck that. And that just goes to show you where her mind was at. She was on that. She was with it. She was totally fine and was in tune with the shit. Yes, I want to fuck this 13-year-old boy. I want him to be my boyfriend. We're in love, and I want us to be together forever.
Despite her conviction, imprisonment, and the public condemnation, Mary's relationship with Villy was far from over. She was released from prison after 3 months on strict parole conditions.
Did you hear that shit? Boom! Charged her ass with second degree, gave her 7 years, let the bitch out in 3 months. Just let that marinate. Let her out in 3 months. Out with tough parole restrictions.
Forbidding any contact with Villy. But again, she defied the law.
How soon after getting out of prison do you think she was back with him?
Immediately.
How was she caught?
She was sitting in a car. They had been to a movie. They were sitting outside making out. The windows were steamy, and a Seattle police officer drove by and saw the steamy windows. So he pulled behind him, turned the spotlight on, and Billy started to leave. They said, halt, and went up to Mary. Mary gave a fake name at first. Unfortunately for Mary, everybody in town knew who Mary Letourneau was by sight.
Mary was arrested on the spot and hauled back to court to face the same judge who had ordered her to have no contact with Billy.
Within weeks of your release from jail, you purposely violated the conditions of your sentence.
Mary was sentenced to a maximum 7.5 years in prison. To make things even worse, she was pregnant again. Mary and Billy's second child.
So she not only got out on parole after serving only 3 months, but she was absolutely fucking back at it again with the white Vans on, Daniel. So to the point to where she got pregnant again. Now I know somebody said they could have just fucked one time and she got pregnant. Point is, she was with it. 3 months. And by this time, I'm imagining this dude is probably 14 years old or some shit like that. And she like, I want to do what we did already. I want to do it again.
Georgia would be born in jail.
Do you think you were wrongly imprisoned?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely.
Because you don't know our story, but we do. We do.
You should never have gone to jail?
If you knew us, and if you knew the intimacies, which guess what, are nobody's business now.
You don't know us, but if you knew us and the intimacies that we have, but it's nobody's business. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense?
I've never heard you say that before. That
Which part?
You shouldn't have gone to prison.
I did the best that I felt at the time, the decision that I made. And I tried to take the guilty plea back when I realized I was tricked and coerced into it.
You weren't coerced into it. You had a deal. You just couldn't keep your hands off that boy. That's it. And this person was a teacher, educating the minds of the future.
It's just absurd to think that 13-year-olds are not having sex and they're not pursuing it in a very deliberate, knowing way. It's absurd.
Not a lot of them are having sex with 34-year-olds.
No, but...
And that's why I said that she would be with her daughters doing the same shit with a 35-year-old man. And yes, there are 13-year-olds that are potentially having sex or becoming sexually active or just being sexually awakened, if you will, whatever the case may be, entering puberty and all that kind of shit. But the point is this. When you look at what they're doing and what they're going through at 13, it's exactly why you don't need a 34-year-old man or woman coming in to manipulate them and to take advantage of that situation because of the state that they're in. That's precisely why. They're confused. They're having a lot of new things happen with them mentally, with them physically, and it is an adjustment, which is why a 34-year-old person should not be sexually active or intimate with any type of 13-year-old boy or girl in any shape, form, or fashion. That's why.
Sex.
But it's not relevant.
It is absolutely relevant. Are they having sex?
I don't see it as being
relevant. Are they having
relevant.
sex? Are they having sex?
I'm certain that they are, but how is
Okay.
that relevant to this case?
They're not children.
So should we rip up the laws and say it's a free-for-all, 13-year-olds with whoever they like?
No. because there are cases, and it's called strict liability, there are cases where there could be abuse. There could be. So you have to have a law that acts as a deterrent, because there are people who might pursue and abuse a situation.
What would be, I guess, do you know what that sounded like to me? That sounded like some NAMBLA shit. That, I'm just telling you, when you get into like real pedophilia, when you're talking about people that are trying to justify that shit, now you're talking about somebody coming back and using that exact same verbiage, saying, are 12-year-olds having sex? Are 11-year-olds having sex? Are 10-year-olds thinking about sex? Are 9-year-olds having sex? You don't know, so you're going to say, I think they are. Where I'm from, they are. So why shouldn't, depending on if they're in love or not? How does a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid know anything about being in love? Hell, for that matter, a 16-year-old, what do you really know about being in love with a 35-year-old motherfucker? Being 14-year-old, thinking you in love with another 14-year-old motherfucker. What that shit is and what you think it is are worlds apart at that age. She's absolutely a predator. A passive-aggressive one, but definitely one at all. Because, and here's my thing with this too, with the whole adult and child thing. She left the door open for him. She left that door open for him. There is no, yeah, maybe he shot his shot as a fucking 14-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid or 12-year-old kid. Yeah, he may have shot his shot. But the fact that he felt comfortable enough to pull it with her time and time again to where she was allowing herself to be pursued, that is the problem. She left the door. She entertained this motherfucker all the way until she became the entertainment.
It looks mighty fine. And now I'm gonna get me.
Mary Kay Letourneau and Billy Falau have navigated more troubled waters than most.
Whoa.
But they're still...
And I mean, and I hear what you're saying, because Wesley's saying, I wonder if dude has any psychological stuff he's dealing with from this. I imagine that he did, because when you think about it, this dude was pretty much robbed of his entire teenage young adult years. Being in a relationship with her, being married to her, because you got to remember, he's 35 now. 10 years ago, he was 25, still with her. In his 20s, still with her. So he kind of like missed out on so much. And maybe he hung out with his boys every now and again, but he was still he still had a whole nother type of commitment in his life at that time, with having 2 kids and all that kind of stuff. There was no way that he had a normal teenage lifestyle, a normal young adult lifestyle. He was never able, I'm sure he has missed out on that tremendously. Yes, he does say that too, fair play. But he's missed out on that tremendously, and that shit has an effect on him. I'm sure that there's a good part of his life to where he feels like, damn, I totally missed out on being a young adult male.
Mary gave Billy a runabout for his recent 35th birthday. She is now 56.
I love him more today than I did when I was in love. I hope.
Do you hear what kind of shit that is? I love him more today than I was when I was in love with him. Ain't that some crazy shit?
Everybody in marriage gets there.
Back at the time, at its inception,
Let me tell you something. Motherfucker, you get to the point to where you ain't in love with somebody and you just love that person. That's when it's time to go. I'm just saying, if you ain't in love with that person that you with, what's the point? Where you just like, yeah, I love him. Yeah, I love her. Just because, do you love her, or are you just familiar with her? Do you love him, or are you just familiar with him? Is it easier to stay with him, or is it easier to stay with her, as opposed to being in love with that person? Why would somebody even just be in a relationship that way and waste so much of your life on something that you really not wholeheartedly into? And that's so troubling and puzzling to me that people do that. Because that what she just said is normal as fuck for a lot of people in a lot of relationships. And my question is, what the fuck are you really doing? Do you really want to waste your life living in a half-full type of love life? Why would you want to do that? That's insane.
Had evolved into something like love. Wasn't this just a physical relationship between a woman and a little boy?
Well, you shouldn't say a little boy.
He was 13.
I know, but you shouldn't say a little boy.
Well, a teenage boy.
He was.
Well, you know, some people are incarcerated in this state at age 13, and they're treated as an adult.
Yeah, but he's not. You hear that shit? Do you hear that? She still don't want to acknowledge it. That's all it was. I'm telling you, there is no other connection that you would have with a 13-year-old boy that is of anything substantial besides sex. What the fuck do y'all have in common? Okay, you like art. The art that he is into at that age and the art that you're into at your age, let's just give you that. I'm gonna give, well, maybe both of y'all like cartoon art or portrait art or some shit like that. Fine. But when you look at it and say, yeah, this is what I'm into and this is what he into, what else do you have besides that? And that lets you know this was all about the flesh. This was all about just sex. That's it.
Mary was an adult, a 34-year-old teacher when she first began her affair with 12-year-old Billy.
These violations are profoundly disturbing.
In a plea deal, she admitted raping a 13-year-old and was sentenced to 7.5 years in jail. While in prison, she secretly sent Billy love letters, and the pair had an arrangement allowing Billy to have girlfriends.
I actually dated while she was in there. I wanted to live my life. I mean, there was no contact.
Is that hard to hear, Mary?
Oh, that he dated?
No, we had an agreement.
I didn't even...
What was the agreement?
We did?
Yeah. You were like, go.
Oh, yeah, I knew. He needed to.
So we had this agreement that she was going to be away for a long time, and I was going to be, not to wait, to just do whatever, whatever's meant to be is going to be.
It was kind of your youth.
Yeah.
One of the things I heard was that the letter was sent that for every person you're with, you would take an inch off Billy's appendage.
Oh, no. That's just a rumor.
Is that a rumor, Billy?
And it was a joke.
Let me...
Listen to how childish she is. And yes, to a degree, she is mentally... both of these motherfuckers can use some couch time. But she's mentally unstable, absolutely. Because, just look at how she's acting. And my thing is this. I'm sure that there's something that went on in her life that threw her shit off into why she's fucked up and did the shit that she did. I'm sure of it. Because this shit is just not, I just wake up one day and this is just what it is. I'm sure that there's something off about her motherfucking ass and something that happened to her when she was young, just like I said about fucking R. Kelly. That shit fucking mattered.
Ask Billy if that's a rumor. Is that a rumor?
It was a joke in a letter you wrote.
It was a joke.
That's a very frightening joke, let me say, as a man. That is a very frightening joke.
I know.
While Mary was in jail, Billy and his mother, Suna, raised their two daughters, Audrey and Georgia.
I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. It's kind of like you just, if you don't know how to swim, you know. It's like, oh, what is that analogy? Swim or you drown. Yeah.
Did it feel to you at times like you might drown, like you were drowning?
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, there's been plenty of times where I felt like just letting go and just going. Yeah.
Billy kept going for the sake of his children.
And you see the dinosaurs behind him.
Oh.
When Mary was released from prison, the couple were determined to live together as a family.
What's time limit? How do you use it?
And now it was legal because Billy was 21.
Without sound. You have to hold it there.
Audrey is now 21 and Georgia 19.
Do you kind of understand, you know, what all the furor, all the interest was about at the time?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I understand about it. Just like how it was surprising to people, but no.
Does it feel any different to you guys? I mean, you seem a loving, normal family.
Well, yeah, it isn't feeling different just because it's not really.
And my thing is this: imagine what it's like for not just their kids. Imagine what it was like for the kids from her first marriage to be growing up like this, and then to have to deal with the fact that now they got two sisters from another marriage that their mom had with an underage boy. Just take that in, being in her first set of kids, like having to deal with that. And the fact that she was just totally okay with her, in her mind, to just trash all of that and let all that shit go. Fuck them kids. Fuck them first four. I'm going to focus on these other two.
Just because we grew up with it, so we're adapted to it.
Yeah. Does he feel like a young dad to you, or is he's just dad?
No, it definitely feels like young dad now that I'm like at that like adult age to where I'm like, I can go to the bar.
I know, we don't like to even imagine it because she did just turn 21 and it was like, oh my, one time.
I mean, that's like the only legal thing I can think of in my head. Oh, I'm 21. That means.
Yeah, and I mean, I get the fact that you can disown your mom. You can disown her, but you still gonna have to deal with that emotion and deal with those feelings of just what she did. She literally cashed out. Got a whole nother young dick, now I'm cashing out. I done found me another young dude, now I'm cashing out. I'm cashing out. She literally cashed the fuck out and said, here, take this family. I'm gonna go start me another. Yes, that's not my son, that's my boyfriend. Yes. Yes, the one who's over there playing whack-a-mole. Yes, we had Chuck E. Cheese for his birthday. Got two I'm gonna be with. Thank you. More tokens, please. It's like, what the fuck?
I can do this, but it's like a friend dad. Friend dad.
Like a friend dad. That's the perfect endorsement, Billy.
In 2005, Mary and Billy were married.
So many other people in your situation might have said, this is too hard, I'm gonna walk away. You stayed the course.
Yeah. Well, I wanted both of my kids to have both parents under the same roof, something I've never had. So I did it for them, so.
Boom. You hear that? He said, I wanted both of my children to have their parents in the same house because I never had. So that's why he stayed. And that's why I said the culture that he's from, the way that he was raised, good and the bad, played a role in his decision making. And the fact that he stayed with her for the sake of his daughters because of how he was raised. 17 brothers and sisters, no daddy in the house because the daddy had five wives. Look at what that did to him. So absolutely, to what Wes was saying earlier, yeah, he fucked up in the head too. because of not just because of the fact of what happened to him, but because of the environment he grew up in. That shit matters. Because he didn't just say, "Oh, I'll just be their parent, be their daddy, you know, we'll co-parent." No, he actually wanted to be in the house because that mattered. So when people talk all that co-parenting shit, oh, you can just co-parent and you can just be co-parent and y'all can make it work, because sometimes it's better to be friends than it is to be in the same house and be enemies. This is why it matters so much. This is exactly why it matters.
There you go, girl. Get
There's one.
Get it. The first sand dollar of the day.
Georgia was 7 and Audrey was 8 when Mary was released from prison. She admits she was a strict mum.
All right, look around. Where there's one, there may be others.
What were you strict about?
I was strict about the
Push-up bras?
Oh,
She literally cut the padding out of my bra once.
Mom, how dare you?
No, because it's unnecessary and it's unnatural and on so many levels.
Okay.
Just leave it at that.
And there was one piece of advice that Mary regularly shared with her girls.
I did say it every morning when they left. I'll probably cry right now. It's like, I love you, now go and do the right thing. And it's like...
It still makes you emotional even now to think about that.
Yeah, I love you, now go and do the right thing. It's like, what else matters?
And I can just say this, hopefully, that those young girls had enough stability growing up to where they will make just better life choices. Because following in your mom and dad's footsteps would not be the best thing, but hopefully that they've learned from what type of life that they've lived and knowing, hey, what your mom went through and all that kind of shit. Hopefully it would just put them in positions to where they make.
Did you do the right thing?
You know what? I'm not going to continue with you trying to have me answer that question. I told you I did my best every single day, and I lived my life that way, and I did. And in that situation, it doesn't even matter.
What matters now is that Mary...
I truly believe that not only why she's so resistant to just taking a minute to just answer that question honestly is because she can't deal with the reality of being responsible and accountable for her decisions and knowing what the fuck she did. I really don't believe that she has the mental capacity to withstand that in itself of just saying, yeah, I did a really, not what I did was against the law, but just I did a really fucked up thing.
She is doing her best to be a good mother, not only to Audrey and Georgia, but to her other 4 children with whom she has a strained relationship. She's also living her life on the right side of the law, practicing as a legal clerk in the same courthouse where she famously appeared more than 2 decades ago.
It's a different Mary, one, because I was very pregnant at the...
There's that.
So, just saying, yeah, it's a different Mary. And it was 21 years ago this month. So, that's a long time.
Villy once dreamed of becoming a professional artist. Those ambitions overtaken by the responsibilities of being a father while he was still a child. These days, he works as a builder's labourer. On a worksite away from Mary, he admitted there are problems with their marriage.
You filed for separation. You toyed with that. Have you ever thought about actually saying this is too hard, I need to call it quits?
I have.
Hell yeah.
Is it something you still think about?
Every now and then. I don't want to talk about that.
As a 35-year-old man...
That means I'm thinking about this shit right now, player. And click that like button while y'all watching this. Please click that like button. But that's what he's thinking. Like, shit, I want to get out of this shit now. And all I'm saying is that because of how he was manipulated at such a young age, he, at the age he's at now, 34, 35 years old, he's realized how much of his youth and how much of life he's actually been robbed. He's actually literally been robbed of so much of his youth and so much of just life experience that he feels shorted, and that creates what? Resentment. He resents her like a motherfucker because of what she did. Yeah, he was 13 years old and he didn't know what the fuck. At that time, he knew what he wanted, but he didn't know the ramifications of him having what he wanted. And that's just a thing with raising children. That's why parents are so important. That's why you don't do things like just give your kids shit. That's why you don't reward your kids for bad behavior just because you love them. That's why you don't let your kids have anything without them working for it and earning it. Because what they think that they want at that time, what they think they want when they are that young and they are so immature, they don't realize the ramifications of them having. My daughter would eat fucking candy for every goddamn meal if you would let her. My daughter would eat all types of fuck shit all the time if I would let her. But we don't, because we understand what the ramifications of that is. One of the biggest things that my wife and I committed to with our child is that we do not want our children to suffer the things that we suffer. Plain and simple. One of those things was being from a broken home. One of the other things was being one of my biggest things, that I do not want my children to be overweight. Teaching them about food, what's good, what's not, teaching them about being healthy, teaching them about cooking and all that kind of shit. I don't want my kids to be in a position to where they are living less of a life because they are obese. As a child, as a young adult, as a teenager, all that kind of shit. This is really, it's one of those things that you're supposed to, in this instance, as a parent, one of your jobs is to save your children from themselves.
To look back at your 13-year-old self and to give him advice as a man, what would you say?
Don't do it.
Really?
I don't know. I can't read.
That was the most honest thing he said in this whole interview. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Regret after my two daughters and the entire life that I've already lived. I've learned that regretful is actually a bad thing. To regret anything, everything that's already happened was already meant to be. It's my journey through life, so I got to live it out.
And that journey with Mary has just entered a new phase.
And that's the essence. What?
The children have moved out, and for the first time, they are empty nesters.
Are you still in love?
I would say yes. Ooh. No, I think that marriage is there's a labor. I would say anyone that's married will know there's a labor of love. That term is there for a reason. So in love, I'm pretty.
I would say there's sorry, cutting you off. I've seen marriages where they make it work. They might have fallen out of love somewhere in the relationship, but they somehow just make it work.
What does the future look like for the both of you? Where does the story of Mary and Billy end?
That Mary does her best every single day. Yeah. And that's how the story ends.
Yeah.
And for Billy?
I'll go with that.
And that just lets you know that
it's a beautiful day.
It's not a thing of just being to where you have remorse. It's just the simple fact of I'm now an adult. And the things that I was into as a kid, the things that I wanted as a kid, I don't want those things now. I'm in a totally different space. I want somebody that's my age. I want somebody that's close to my age that I can actually talk to, that I can actually do things with, that we actually vibe on a certain level. And it's like, even for her, you see, she wasn't like, oh yes, I'm still in love, I love him so much. Nope. She's at a point in her life. They are so far on the other side of the spectrum of what their needs and wants are because of a 22-year age gap. That's why they're not in love. See, when you're young, that shit is cool because it's all exciting and fun. But as you get older, a few years here and there is one thing. 5 years, 8 years, that's one thing. When you 22 years age difference, you're at different stages of life. And the fact that you're together and bonded by marriage doesn't mean that you are still compatible. That's just what it is. That's why I tell people, one of the things that I've always said about people, I say, hey man, when you get to the age of when you get to about to be 50, you 50, 55, if you ain't married and committed with somebody by then, don't even do it. Because once you get married, there is a blending that takes place. There is a merger that takes place where you have to sacrifice certain things. You gotta negotiate certain things. You have to compromise with certain things. And the older that you get, the more set in your ways you become, the less malleable you are, the less compromising you want to be. So that's why you hear old motherfuckers be like, I'm 65 years old. I say what the fuck I want. I'm 50 years old. I do what I want, say what I want. That's why people get that way. Because you don't want to give on certain shit. You want to do shit your way. You want shit to be your way. You want to go when you want to go. You want to stay when you want to stay. And when you're at an age to where that's like a part of you and you ain't trying to change that shit. Now, when you 22 and this motherfucker over here is 45, yeah, that 22-year-old is way more compromising because of the resources and because of what you can do for that person. But when that motherfucker 35 and this motherfucker 55, oh, I'm well within my shit now. And this motherfucker I'm setting my ways now. And it's like, fuck you, no, fuck you. I'm still young. I still want to go out and do shit and get out and do shit. Motherfucker, your ass trying to be asleep by 8. Because you tired. Now, every once in a while you can do it, but it's just you in two different spaces. And that's why it's so terrible that you do something like that. And why when somebody's that young, you have that dynamic that really comes into play.
We're learning details of Mary Kay Letourneau's final days. Her estranged husband, Billy Falau, was at her side at the very end when she died of cancer at age 58.
Billy came up and was by her side for the last couple of months, at the end 24/7, taking care of her because he loved her. I had time to emotionally prepare for it. It hurts, and I know it hurts him.
A family statement declared Mary passed away peacefully after a 6-month battle. She fought tirelessly against this terrible disease.
It was sad when she got the news. She was told then that it was stage 4 and fatal. She stayed strong.
Mary Kay Letourneau became the poster child for teachers caught up in sex scandals involving their students. She was a married woman with 4 children when she had an affair with her student, who was then 12 years old. She was pregnant when she was sentenced to 7 years in prison for child rape.
It was wrong, and I am sorry.
Over the years, Inside Edition has covered every twist and turn of the Letourneau saga, including the birth of her second child with Falau, a girl born behind bars. When Mary Kay was released from prison in 2004, she and Falau married.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
They were interviewed by Barbara Walters in 2015 on their 10th anniversary.
There is a story of us that has a life of its own.
They said a marriage born in scandal wouldn't last, and it didn't. They split in 2017. Their daughters are now in their 20s. Attorney Ann Bremner was Letourneau's friend.
Do you think she ever regretted her actions with Billy Falau?
Honestly, I don't think she did. I think that she felt that it was a love story and she gave up a lot for love.
Now the book is closed on the controversial life of Mary Kay Letourneau.
And here's the sad part about this. You had a 13-year-old boy with a 34-year-old woman, and you had a teacher taking advantage of a student. You had a grown woman actually indulging and into the lust, into the fantasy and all of that she had going on in her life, to where she sacrificed her current marriage and 4 children's lives, all for the sake of her own, indulging in her fantasy that she had with being infatuated and sexually attracted to a 13-year-old boy. And in that, what she winded up with was a man in his 30s who was resentful and realized that he made a bad mistake. And with everything that she sacrificed, I truly believe that she mentally could not deal with the fact of acknowledging and accepting the fact that she made the wrong life choice. And the lives that she's affected and literally ruined to some degree for people that she's supposedly supposed to love. Her ex-husband, her 4 children, her 2 children with him, and the fact that her husband, whom she winded up divorcing, also suffered. So when you take all of those things that she did, the public shame, the embarrassment, the ridicule that everyone had to endure because of her own decisions and her own selfishness, because all of this was about her, everything that she did was about her. You talking about, this is a whole nother level of selfishness that she went and she doubled down on it time and time again, year after year, decision after decision. All she wanted was what she wanted, which was that little boy. To the point to where she sacrificed her life and everything around her. She burned it all to the ground so that she could have what she wanted. And then to turn around and be 50 years old, 55, 56, 57 years old. Her children that she had with him are grown and out of the house. And I truly believe that none of them had anything to do with it. The relationship that she had with her girls, the relationship that she had with him in the 4th quarter of their lives, or the second half of their lives, I believe they totally resented her. They totally didn't want to have anything to do with her. I'm sure he had nothing in common with her. Her daughters had nothing in common with her. And there was just a total disconnect to where she basically just did what she could with the time that she had left just to get by. And her selfishness left her pretty much in a loveless, once her kids moved out, childless life that she lived. And she didn't have anyone to share it with. Because the man whom she at one time loved or was infatuated with or was just sexually attracted to, that person himself didn't even want. And I'm telling you, that's a tough pill to swallow. And yes, she died of cancer, and by the time they caught it and found out what it was stage 4, and it was too late, and it was just a few months later. And to his point, and to his, to his credit, he did the stand-up thing. But I think even in that moment, he was still being an example to his daughter, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. And even though I got so much resentment for her and what she did in taking advantage of me, he still did the right thing for their sake. Because I'm sure that he didn't just totally hate her, but I'm quite sure that he hated what she did and the reasons why she did. So, in that in itself, Like I said, this was just a very strange story, and I just got to thinking about it today, and that's why I just wanted to finally do it. And it's just my biggest thing, or my biggest takeaway from all of this, is looking at all of the ins and outs and the intricacies of this relationship, of this whole situation. It all comes back to this one thing. Parents, it is your responsibility to look after your children. Your children are going to make the wrong decision. They're going to do dumb things. They're going to do things that are not best for their lives. It is your responsibility, mother and father, to look after, to make sure that your children are being guided in the right direction and that they are around the right people. Just because a person is an adult does not mean that they should have carte blanche when it comes to access of your children. I don't understand why parents are so willy-nilly with other adults being around their children. You shouldn't be willy-nilly with other children being around your children. Yes, you can teach your kids all that you can, and I know you got to let your kids go and all that kind of stuff, but you should still have the wherewithal to say, I am my child's protector and I am my child's navigation system. It is my responsibility to guide them in life. And even though they may not agree with the choices that I make for them, I still need to explain them to them so that they know why I made the decisions that I made in that moment, during that time, not 25 years later, not after the shit done all hit the fan and they done fucked up their lives or made the wrong decision, but it should be during that time to where I can say, this is why I'm not letting you do this, son, daughter. Because even though men will tout that, and you'll hear young boys saying, shit, I wish I could fuck my teacher. I love that shit. Yeah, but what if you got your teacher pregnant? Yeah, what if your teacher robbed you of your youth? How would you feel as an older you? And I'm sure there are plenty of people who've had sex with their teacher. But to this extent and to what happened, are you really like, man, that was the best thing that ever happened? And if you are, I guarantee you that those people that do think that, they're not the most mentally stable people that you know. Being an adult, a young adult or something like that, I get it. But being a 12-year-old kid, yeah, you might have looked at a teacher and been like, ooh, Miss Such and Such got an ass. I love to fuck her. Yeah, I love to squeeze her booty. All that, that's one thing. But when you actually have a teacher actually moving forward with that, with a child at that age, it's disturbing. It's damaging. And I believe that we should have the same type of angst, the same type of vitriol for a female teacher, just like we do with the male teacher. And for some reason in our society, we let a female teacher fuck as many kids as and will give her chance and time again, opportunity after opportunity to redeem herself. But if a dude does it once, looked at her once in the wrong situation, in a compromising situation one time, there is no remorse. I mean, not remorse. There is no second chance. There is no redemption. It's damn you straight to hell and burn in the flames of the pits of the fiery of hell, sitting next to the devil himself. That's what we do. We have to take better care of our kids. We have to watch out for our kids. Stop letting your kids be hanging around adults and hanging around unsavory little motherfuckers just because they getting out your hair. Because the decision that you let them make and the situations that you allow them to be put in as a child, as a young adult, it will have lifelong effects on who they are as a person and who they become. I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. I just want to say thank you to everybody that actually tuned in. Thank you to everybody that actually donated. I'm going to shout you out real quick. If you're watching this show on the replay, please click the like button. please click the subscribe button if this is your first time. And I want to say thank you to Burgundy Blue. Hit your boy up with $5. He said for good commentary. Thank you so much. We're going to hit this PayPal and we're going to get on the body. If you guys have any comments about it, please put them in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the show. And until next time, I believe that is it. Yep. Just one donation. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything that you guys do. It's been a great show. I enjoyed myself. I appreciate y'all. And hey, happy birthday to me. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate you all. It's been real. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the United Guns of America channel, please do so. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night. Your boy is out of here. Peace. We are about to get. All right, y'all. Thank you, everybody. I want to give a shout out to everybody that stopped through. Rashida Cool P, Miss June Bennett, Killer Swag, John Joe, Crestline Iceberg, Reed, what up? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night. It's your boy, Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab and the United Guns of America. Remember, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I love y'all. Peace. Thank y'all for the birthday wishes and the birthday love. Have a good night, everybody.